Because I've been watching this race that you in. I'm a little concerned because we already played a video clip that talked about the fact that the super PACs that are funding your opponent in this primary challenge from what I understand, they're single issue PACs. They are really focused on their support for Israel, and if you support Israel, obviously that's great for you. But I'm wondering, has the opponent or what does it mean for the residents in your community to be looking at this competition between you, someone who's been doing the work, and somebody who is, it kind of feels like being parachuted in some ways, and then he's got his own weird history of slow walking desegregation. This feels very, very odd to me, Congressman Bowman. What do you say about all of this?
I mean, this is the most expensive primary race in United States history, right? And so it is odd, it is unusual, and people are being bombarded and overwhelmed with ads, with mailers, mostly negative against me, some pro in his favor, but it's just overwhelming for people. And to your point, my reputation is pretty solid. I served this community as a middle school principal for 10 and a half years. I've always been rooted in the community. And since I've gotten into Congress, we brought over $1 billion back to the district, focusing on affordability, reducing gun violence, healthcare, mental health, all the
I'm sorry,
issues
you
that
said
people
over a
care about.
billion?
Over a
You said
billion,
over a
yes.
billion? Oh,
Well over a billion.
I said millions. I didn't realize I was using the wrong illion. So we're talking over
Well
$1 billion.
over a
My God.
billion. So
Okay.
the people know the work that we've done because we've done it with them. We've done it in concert with them. We've always governed with the people. And now they are trying, they meaning AIPAC, a special interest lobby with their number one issue and only issue, single issue being Israel. They're literally trying to buy this seat from the people. And so it is unusual. It's actually unprecedented, never
Hmm.
done before. But thankfully, it feels like the people can see through the nonsense and they're coming out in big numbers to support us to win this re-election on June 25th.
Talk to us about the demographics of your district. Are you in I mean, I know it includes the Bronx, West, a variety of spaces
Yep.
just north thereof, but give us a sense as to who the people are. What communities do they come from?
So it's a majority minority district. The Latino community is slightly the largest minority, slightly more than Black. And, under Black and Latino, there's so many different ethnic backgrounds, as we know. But it covers the Northeast Bronx, which is Co op City, Baychester, and Edenwall. And it goes north up into White Plains and Westchester. So it
Hmm.
includes White Plains, Portchester, Greenburgh, Yonkers, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, the Rivertown, Sound Shore. So very diverse district, but just like America, diverse, but segregated and separated based on race and class. And one of the other criticisms for me or of me in this race is that, oh, I only focus on communities of color, which is completely not true. I govern with and for the entire district. But yes, I do focus on areas that have been historically marginalized and neglected. That's what I'm supposed to do. That is my job. I'm very aware of American history, and I know how the US government has on purpose redlined our communities to devalue them historically, and we've never repaired that harm. And in order for us to be the country that we're capable of being, we have to focus on repairing that harm. And so that's what I'm trying to do, and that's why they're coming after me.
Let's talk about the racial implications here. I was doing a little bit of research on both you and your opponent, and I was very troubled to see that he has been tied to what some have claimed are efforts to slow walk desegregation. Considering there are so many communities of color in your district, that definitely had my eyebrows raised. There have been a number of reports about his effort to not, let's just say, not robustly embrace the idea of integration. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. And really, I'm interested into how someone with that sort of history might have policies that would impact the communities of color in your district in ways that might be less than advantageous.
100%. So back in the 90s, when Yonkers was fighting to desegregate its communities, excuse me, check that. The NAACP was pushing Yonkers to desegregate his communities. Him as a county executive, county legislator, excuse me, at that time in Rye, he wasn't even in Yonkers, fought to push back against that, fought against the desegregation of Yonkers. This was in the 90s.
Huh.
Now, fast forward to 2024, he's now been county executive for 7 years. And based on a federal lawsuit of Westchester County, was ordered by the federal government to do more to desegregate the county and to do more to provide affordable housing. He has done nothing in regard to these two areas. Add that to the fact that many of his donors and supporters are developers who have big money who are now trying to help him buy this district from the working class people. So he's had a career of desegregation and being embedded with those who could care less about affordable housing, who could care less about uplifting communities of color. I mean, these are people who actually fight nationally to suppress voting rights, to suppress reproductive rights, to take away affirmative action. And this is why, we've been trying to tell people he is running a racist campaign based on policy and based on outcomes. And last thing I want to say real quick, it's not related to desegregation, it's related to something else. 14% of the children in the district are Black. They make up 62% of children in child jails. And he wants to build another child jail.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Say that number again, please, sir.
14% of the children in the district are Black. They make up 62% of the children in jail.
Jesus.
And so
you also say that he's trying to build another youth jail?
And he's trying to build another youth jail. Because people like him, they are all about crime and punishment, right? They're not about rehabilitation, and they're not about understanding the social determinants of health so that we could deal with the issues of education and housing and poverty and substance abuse and mental health so that we can help our children and families not commit crime in the first place. So he's completely unfit for the position based on his lack of understanding of what actually goes into true public health and public safety, as one example. And oh, by the way, he wants to keep Westchester as segregated as possible so that his friends in Rye and Scarsdale don't have to live with Black and brown folk who are working class.
Well, we've seen versions of that story before. Give us a sense as to your vision for your district, and what would a Project 2025 America, how would that impact you and your constituents?
Oh my goodness. So first of all, when you just said Project 2025, it scared the living crap out of me because I hope people really understand what's happening here. This is not just the looming presidency of Donald Trump. This is right-wing Republicans trying to involve themselves in Democratic primaries to buy the seats from progressives and put the most conservative Democrats imaginable in those seats. Why? So they can continue policies rooted in white supremacist ideology, and so that they can implement policies that take us further away from true democracy where Black and brown people and poor people have power, but towards a more fascist dictatorial state that's controlled by oligarchies, big money in politics. Yeah. My opponent is engaging in a big money in politics race. And when people can buy elections, then we no longer have a democracy. Project 2025 would literally turn America into a fascist state. It would literally bring back McCarthyism on 1,000. And my vision for the district and our collective vision for the district is an end to poverty, is an end to, or is the providing of universal child care, is the providing of universal pre-K, is the providing of healthcare as a human right, housing as a human right, it's the providing of justice through our policy and through our investments. That's what it's supposed to look like so that everyone can have access to the American dream. And when you do that, you increase economic output for the country, you decrease healthcare costs, and you decrease incarceration costs because people are generally less stressed, have a better quality of life, and they are more healthy. So now you have a better country that works for everyone as opposed to the caste system that we continue to exist within.
Yeah. I've seen some of the images and the videos that have been up surrounding your race in particular, and it feels like a whole lot of it, the critiques of you are that you're not realistic, like this vision to end poverty. Nobody's going to end poverty. Who's going to get universal pre-K? Nobody can do universal child care. And so they say you dream too big, but then they also say you a mean old Black man. Like that feels like what you can reduce it to. He got big dreams to be a mean old Black man. He's not nice. He's not sufficiently in favor of the Biden administration, and he's big and Black and mean and he's not practical. What do you say to that? Why are your dreams so big? Why what are you fighting for these things for?
Oh man, it's hilarious. I mean, if we weren't aspirational, America wouldn't have evolved from the genocidal, enslaving, segregationist, non-women rights, non-LGBTQ rights country that it was. And it still has a long way to go. But someone believed that slavery should end, right? So we had the abolitionist movement. Someone believed that segregation should end and Jim Crow should end and the lynching of Black people for no reason should end. So we had a civil rights movement. Someone believed that women should have some damn rights and LGBTQ should have some damn rights. So we fought for that. Someone believed after the Russians put Sputnik into the atmosphere that we could put a man on the moon. And let's move heaven and earth to put a man on the moon. Someone believed that we should have climate justice, and we just passed the most historic climate bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, in U.S. history. And so it has to begin with a core belief. If it doesn't begin with a core belief that's aspirational, what are we even doing this for? No, I don't want my children to be raised in a country where, white supremacist, suppressive ideology is just the way of life, and my kids just have to grow up feeling like second-class people because they're Black or brown, and my daughter, who's a woman, have to feel second-class to some patriarchy. I don't want that. I want true liberation for everybody in mind, body, and soul, so that we can build a country that is beyond our wildest imagination for everybody. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And I'm passionate about that. The irony is I have had well-meaning white people who are supporters of mine see pictures of me where I'm laughing hysterically, and they'll say, don't use those pictures because you might scare some white people. And these are white, well-meaning supporters of mine. So even in our most extreme joy, it scares white people. That's wild.
Yeah. Well, all you got to do is paint an image of big Blackness, and that will evoke a whole couple centuries worth of programming. And so I saw one commercial. I was like, did they just say he's a mean Black? I think that's what they just say. He's a mean Black, and he's tall. So don't vote. I don't know. I don't get it. But we are in early voting right now in New York City. And if you have been, we have been actually actively calling in the Bronx. And we at the Center for Law and Social Justice at Medgar Evers College, because we're doing a citywide voter outreach and GOTV effort for New Yorkers of African descent. So we got a lot of calls happening in the Bronx and your parts of your district. And so we are doing our work to get the word out, because right now we are in early voting. And of course, we're nonpartisan, so we're not telling people who to vote for. We just say, listen, there's an election happening. You can do early voting up until Sunday this weekend. You can vote absentee, and you can vote in person on Tuesday. So New Yorkers, you need to make your way out there. My final comment is just simply this. You got a lot of flack in that debate for they accuse you of having all your supporters coming out of Dearborn, Michigan, which means like the Blacks and the Muslims that ain't even a part of your district are the ones supporting you. I would like to know, however, that the fact checks found that you had less than $2,000 or so from outside donations, particularly from Dearborn, Michigan, and that is very much a contrast to your opponent. So, best of luck is what I can say. Maybe be less big and black and dreamy, and maybe have smaller vision. I don't know. Any final comments you want to say to the people of your district or to the Urban View audience?
Early voting is happening all day today. It's happening all day Saturday. It's happening all day Sunday. It's very easy to find your polling site. If you just Google it. And if you live in Westchester, you can vote anywhere in Westchester, and just give them your name and you'll be able to vote at that location. But we need people to come out and vote. This is how we build our political power, and we build new infrastructure in our political system so that we can hold accountable people like me and others for doing what's right for our community. So please come out and vote in big numbers. Thank you so much for having me. This was a real pleasure. Thank you.